Hi, Sean here. It's been a while. Welcome to your channel. So let's talk about Skills, Project, MCP, and Subagent. Anthropic released a feature called Skills a couple weeks ago alongside with a guideline explaining their whole ecosystem. So to explain myself a little bit better, I'm going to try my best to give you an example. I will take you inside an office and explain it to you using some analogies. So hopefully by the end of this, we'll know what these pieces are, when to use them, and the difference between each of these. Let's walk into the office. Imagine you're the CEO of a company. Claude is your super employee. But to make the employee efficient, we need to put it into the right environment or to give it the right tool. First, we have Project. Think of this as a dedicated permanent reference rig. Let's say you need Claude to work on a Q4 report. You upload your market research, your competitor analysis, and a bunch of other documents into this project. Everything you upload here becomes a background knowledge. Whether you walk into this room today or next week, Claude sees the writing on the wall, and it has access to all the documents in this room. Of course, you might ask, what's the difference between this and upload a bunch of files in a normal chat? In a normal chat, once you close a session or delete a session, or exceed the maximum context window, Claude cannot memorize all the background knowledge you've told it. But in Project, the document stays in the room. You don't have to do the uploading every time. What is more that inside the project, we utilize prompt caching. Without Project, you pay the compute cost to read files every single time you ask questions. But with the project, the model has already digested files. The latency drops significantly because the context is hot and ready. Next, we have MCP Server. Think of this as a universal cable. By itself, Claude is trapped in a box. He cannot see your real-time files. MCP is the protocol. This is the language. It's a set of rules that says, this is how an AI asks for data, and this is how data answers. It's just a standards. It's like a shape of a USB plug. MCP Server is the actual piece of the software that does the work. For example, Claude does not know how to talk to the SQL database directly, but the Postgres MCP server does. Claude talks to the MCP server, and the server translates that into SQL queries. Now he doesn't just remember a file uploaded last week. He can see the files as it exists right now. But why does this matter? It decouples the intelligence from the data source. Well, think of this way. Without MCP, Claude needs to customize codes for every tool. But with MCP, Claude just speaks one language, the MCP protocol. Any tool that has an MCP server, Claude can use it. It's not just reading, Claude can take action too. MCP makes Claude an active participant in your workflow. And next we have Skills. Anthropic calls this progressive disclosure. It's a fancy word, so let's call it Magic Backpack. Here's the problem. You want Claude to know everything from how to format Excel, how to write code, how to follow a company's strict brand guidelines. But if you shove all those instructions into his brain at once, two things would happen. He'd get confused and it costs you money and time. So how does Skills fix this? Your super employee carries a backpack. Inside are dozens of instruction manuals. But here's the genius part. He doesn't read them all at once. He only keeps the table of contents, like the index, in his mind. This is tiny, only about 100 tokens. He knows which manual he has, but he doesn't read them yet. The moment you said analyze the spreadsheet, he instantly recognized the task. He reaches into the backpack, he pulls out the Excel expert manual, reads the full 5,000 words instructions and execute it perfectly. Skills are for how to do things. They save brain power because they only load when you actually need them, and usually they can handle things better. Or finally, we have subagents. These are like specialized contractors. Sometimes when a task is too risky for your main assistant, let's say you're coding, you don't want your main assistant to accidentally delete your database, so Claude hires a subagent. This contractor has its own separate brain. He has a specific job description, for example, like a code reviewer. And most importantly, he has limited permissions. You can tell the subagent you have permission to read the code, but you do not have the permission to write or delete anything. This is for specializations and safeties. It keeps the main conversations clean and the dangerous task isolated. Okay, the analogy is cool, but let's try to put it into some real-life scenarios. You have a new client, you need to draft a welcome email that mimics your brand's tone of voice and references to your specific service tiers. So in this case, personally, I would stick with the project. I don't need the AI to go out and fetch live data or execute code. I just needed to remember who we are and what format we use. If I use a skill here, it's an overkill. A project allows me to load that brand identities into Model's hot memory, ensures that every time I said write an email, the latency is low and the style is consistent without me having to reprompt it. It is the end of a month, you have 50 invoices PDF sitting in the Google Drive, and you need to extract the total into a specifically formatted Excel sheet. In this case, I would use the hybrid approach, the MCP server paired with a skill. Here's why I wouldn't use a project. First is the connectivity. Claude doesn't see the inside of my private Google Drive by default, so I would use the Google Drive MCP server to bridge the gap. And second, it's standardization. Once the files are accessible, I'll wrap the execution logic into a bookkeeper skill. This skill contains best practices for invoice data extractions, what fields to look for, how to format dates, how to handle edge cases. This will dramatically reduce the randomness in the model's outputs. Alright, so that's everything I have for today. So stop treating Claude like a chatbot. Start building your conference room, plug in your cable, and most importantly, fill up your backpack with skills. I have linked the official Anthropic guide and some starter skills templates in the description below. Again, thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please leave a like or subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.